It's Dave and Evelyn from the camera store.
And today we're talking about a brand new camera that I have right here. Today, Leica launched a brand new camera, the SL3, which is their 60 megapixel full frame mirrorless camera.
This is packed with some new technology, some refinements to the lineup. So we're going to get into it. Now, we don't actually have a unit physically here. We didn't go to Germany for the launch, but we did talk to someone who did. So a little bit later, we're going to talk to Chris Niccolls, who gave us his first impressions this morning on what it was like to shoot with it.
But first, let's talk about some of the new stuff going on with the new SL3.
One of the biggest upgrades is its new autofocus system. So this combines both phase detection and contrast detection to give you the best autofocus system performance.
Yeah, I mean, the SL2 had contrast-only detection, and it worked okay, but we really want to see them step up. So adding phase detection and subject detection is really going to improve the overall performance of this camera.
This camera is also very versatile, and they have given it an IP54 rating. So what that means, this is a lot more sealed than a lot of other full frame mirrorless cameras.
I really do like that. It means you're much more confident taking this camera out and about in some conditions that you might be a little more leery of with other brands.
Yeah, we also have some really nice refined user interface. We're going to talk to Chris about this because he had an experience with it, but they've redefined their interface in terms of the menu system, and the screens are also improved as well. So you went to Wetzlar, Germany and actually saw the SL3 in person. What were your first impressions?
So, when you first see it, actually, it looks a lot like the SL2. I mean, they really do keep the same kind of look to the camera, the same kind of feel. So what really changed is when you actually held it in your hands. Then you notice the SL3 is a little bit lighter than an SL2 and a little bit smaller. And that was like an interesting change for sure.
So do you think that this camera is designed for professionals? Like, do you see it as being kind of like a hobbyist camera? Like, who do you see using this?
Yeah, I mean, I think with any Leica camera, because given the cost of the cameras, of course, but also just the design of them, the way that they're intended to be used, they absolutely are looking for existing Leica users to purchase them. I mean, of course, this is an L-mount camera. You could absolutely use it with Panasonic lenses if you want to. But, I think the idea really is, look, if you're getting a Leica SL3, you're going to be a Leica user already, or at least you really want to buy into the Leica because you want to have that experience of using one, the heritage that's involved, and the lenses, the glass that's in front of it. So I think it's definitely intended to be a camera that opens up the gateway to a more mirrorless kind of experience. I mean, the Q3, the M series cameras, they are a bit of more unique way of shooting. It's a very different way of seeing the world and kind of exploring it. Whereas, I mean, the SL3 is absolutely a mirrorless full frame platform. And of course, we see this from cameras like Sony and Nikon and Canon and Panasonic. So what really sets it apart is either that you already love the Leica name or that you really want to buy into that kind of world and that kind of experience of shooting one.
Were you surprised to see that they did not include the content authenticity initiative in this camera? Do you think they should have?
That was interesting. I mean, so far they made the sort of first full frame camera, the the M11P, to have that content authenticity.
Yeah, they have the technology.
Yeah, it's funny that they do that. And there are some hardware things that are involved, although the idea, the general consensus is a lot of this stuff can be added afterwards in firmware. So we might see that happen. I don't know. I mean, we asked them about that. We asked the executives at the time. A lot of it was just timing, trying to get the camera out on time, have it ready for launch. So we might see that come in the future. Or perhaps, Leica is certainly a company that likes to separate their line into different versions, like the M11, right? You have the M11, then the M11 monochrome and M11P, and it's only the P model that actually got that built in. So we could very well see that maybe we have to wait for an SL3P version. Who knows? But they haven't put it in there, but they do say that they're committed to, in the future, rolling that out in a lot of their cameras.
Was there anything else that was either delighting or disappointing about the SL3?
Yeah, I mean, one of the main things, of course, having the autofocus is great. I mean, having the new hybrid autofocus is improvement.
It's like a necessity. Like, people expect that.
Yeah, you have to have it nowadays. So it made sense that they did that. We were expecting that. The new body design is nice. I mean, how customizable it is, the new menu system, how simple it is. I think that was a big thing they wanted to achieve. And then one of their main things that they consider an improvement, and this is where it kind of gets a little bit gray, is they wanted to make the SL3 smaller and lighter than the SL2. So they made it a little bit shorter, they made it a little bit less wide, and they shaved off, like 60, 70 grams. I mean, it wasn't a huge amount, but certainly they shaved off some weight. But in order to do that, they had to put in a brand new shutter mechanism and a brand new IBIS unit. And it's nice that we have those things, but the shutter now goes from 250 to the second maximum flash length down to 200th, and the IBIS we
Oh.
lost. The IBIS actually is less effective than what we had in the SL2.
Hmm.
Would somebody notice it in a practical sense? Probably not a huge difference, but it's curious to see a company actually downgrade some of the
Mhm.
specs from an older model in order to get slightly smaller size and weight. But I mean, the designers are very adamant. They're like, we really wanted to make it smaller and lighter. It certainly is a very comfortable camera to handle and to use.
Overall, Dave, I think this is a nice upgrade for Leica. First of all, you have the better autofocus system. Having it a hybrid system, we've seen it in so many other models that once you go hybrid, you never go back to just contrast, right? Like it's really the evolution of all camera systems.
I mean, we're spoiled a lot with the modern day autofocus. So it's nice to see that we're having more than just contrast detection at our disposal with this camera.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, Leica always makes these really sophisticated, lovely packages of cameras.
With IP54 rating, I mean, having that weather sealing is awesome too.
Oh, that's great. I mean, I'm way more confident taking a camera out that I know has an IP54 rating than one that I'm a little more suspect of or doesn't have a rating at all.
Yeah, I also like that we do have this nice 60 megapixel sensor. We've seen it in their previous models in the M11. It's a beautiful sensor. It's going to produce wonderful images. And one cool feature that not a lot of other full frame mirrorless cameras have is the ability to change your resolution for your RAW files. Usually you only have that option in JPEGs.
Yeah, so you can go 18, 36, and 60 megapixels depending what your requirements are.
Yeah.
Now, I do like that they've made the camera slightly smaller, and they made the camera a little bit lighter, and they've given you a new battery, which gives you more power to work with.
Yeah, they've also added a tilt screen,
Which is a big deal.
which is super handy. That is a huge deal. And then, of course, with the new interface, they've refined the menu system. They've just made everything a little bit easier to work with. That's fantastic. But I think overall, like for getting the hybrid autofocus system, the smaller body, and all those other nice little upgrades, we have in-camera USB-C charging. I think that this does kind of make it a more modern camera, definitely more desirable, and something that's versatile for Leica.
I mean, and the fact that this camera can shoot 8K video now, we have the inclusion of a CF Express Type B card. So as far as speed goes, we certainly have a ton available to us.
Yeah, so we're excited to get our hands on this. We are hoping to get one at the end of the month when it comes into Canada for us. And so we'll give you maybe a few more features. Maybe we'll do an unboxing and show you a few more physical features of this new camera.
For one, I'm looking forward to getting my hands-on review on this camera. I've always liked the quality of Leica results I'm getting, and I love the sophistication and the simplicity of a Leica camera. So I can't wait to get my hands on one.
Should we torture test it? Like torture test the Leica? I'm always way too scared to do that because they're so pretty.
There's a very good chance it's still going to be snowing when we receive our camera. We'll certainly put it through its paces environmentally and see if it can withhold everything.
If you have any ideas for what we should do with the Leica, let us know. We'd love to hear your comments below. And of course, I want to thank Chris and Jordan from Petapixel from allowing us to interview Chris and be able to see some of their clips. Really cool to see their experience from Whistler, Germany. Weissler. Weissler?
Vessler.
I don't know.
Vessler?
Weissler?
I don't know. If you hope you like what you saw, please like and subscribe. It's Dave and Evelyn from the Camera Store, and we'll catch you again next time. Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. If you want to check out more of our recent content, click up here. And if you're Canadian and you want to support local, check out thecamerastore.com down here.